What is going on, y'all? Thank you for joining us here on the Mission Ready Men podcast on the SHR Media Network, excuse me. Today is Tuesday, February 4th, and we have a packed show for you today. It's been like drinking from a fire hose since Trump took office. Preparing for the show has just been, every time I think I got it right, there's something else happens, and more winning happens. So, but today we have, we're going to talk some ICE protests, DOJ exposing a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse over at USAID, trade wars, and Black History Month. And before you get all up in arms about that, I think you'll be surprised at what my take on that is going to be. If you've been following me for a while, you probably can guess, but we'll get into it. And if I say something that you like, go ahead and let me know in the comment section. And if I say something you disagree with, I want to know that too. I'd love to engage with you about that. The comments and engagement play a big part in the algorithm the tech tyrants are using to throttle our content. So please like, comment, share, do all the things that social media requires of us. And also please, in fact, first and foremost, pray for us. Pray that all of us here at SHR Media have a huge breakthrough this year so that we can reach as many people as we possibly can. So thank you for joining us here on the SHR Media Network. You can follow us on all the socials at Mission Ready Men on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Truth Social. And for our merch, like this shirt that I'm wearing today, go ahead and head over to missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out this design and all the other great designs that we have available. I think that's everything. So let's get after it. First thing, for this really, it's not funny. It actually is quite irritating. Pisses me off, really. And that is these anti-ICE protests that are taking place pretty much all across the country. We had one in Dallas, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But they're in Chicago, LA, New York, all over the place. And it's a bunch of immigrants, aliens, illegal aliens, waving the flags of their home countries, protesting that we are deporting them. And having technical issues with the software, but as I was saying, let me just make sure that everything is all right. Good to go. All right. The fact that these people are here in this country, waving their flags, protesting that we're deporting them. If they're so upset about that, why not just leave? Kick rocks, get gone. I mean, it's really ridiculous that we're seeing this kind of nonsense, because the people who immigrate here legally, the people who do it the right way, the people who spend all the money and spend all the time, and I understand that the actual legal immigration process is burdensome and expensive and should be reformed. I get that. But people still do it the right way. And to just come over here and say,
yeah, we're here and we're staying, and if you deport us, then we're gonna block traffic and we're gonna burn your flag and we're gonna make life miserable for everyone here until you let us stay because we're entitled. Nah, not having it, not having it. And there was a there was a protest like this in Dallas, and still having some technical issues. I hope everything is going right on y'all's end. But as I was saying, these people, and you can hear what's about to happen. All right, this protest was in LA. I'm going to talk about the Dallas one here in a second. These people do not appreciate what they actually have by being in this country. And if they did, they would obey our laws and do it the right way. But instead, they're acting like petulant children and desecrating our flag, blocking our streets, and just being around menaces to society. This one, I believe, like I said, was in LA. Oxnard is where this one took place. Check this out. You have the nerve to burn the flag of the country where you allegedly stay. You allegedly want to stay in this country, are mad that people that we're trying to get rid of you. And instead of being appreciative and trying to stay under the radar and maybe at least try to get away with it. And I'm not advocating that by any stretch of the imagination. As far as I'm concerned, kick rocks, get out. We don't want you. But this is just ridiculous. And I am not one of these people who says burning the flag is free speech. There is not a country in the world that doesn't punish people for burning their flag, except us. Why? If you hate this country enough to burn the flag, then get out. Get out, kick rocks, get gone, bye. And I'm kind of irritated that ICE didn't show up at some of these protests. I know they did show up at, I think, one, but I'm kind of irritated that they didn't show up at all of these protests and just start locking people up and kicking them out. But I did want to show you this one. I'm not going to show the whole thing. It's about 2.5 minutes long. But Sarah Gonzalez over at the Blaze, following her for a long time, watching her shows on the Blaze, and she she is all done. She is all done, and she has zero cares to give. And she attended one of these protests just to see what was going on. And let's just say things didn't go the way that the protesters thought they were to go.
Don't touch my phone. Go. Don't go.
Someone just run her over. Let's go.
I'm sorry, what?
They're talking about running her over.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
Over. I look like what? Like a real big hoe? You feel like a big man talking like that? You feel like a big man? Fatty? Go back home! Go back home! How about the race tree? Let's talk about the rape trees on the way from Mexico to America. Let's talk about the children who are raped repeatedly by coyotes and cartel criminals. You're quiet now. Oh, you walk away? Oh, you don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk
No,
about
of
the women
course
and
they
the
don't want to talk
children that
about
are being
that.
killed. If you are illegally, enjoy your stay. You're getting deported soon. This is not stolen land. It was conquered. Sorry, your people were too weak. I will. It's a public place. If you do that, that's assault. I don't give a fuck, bitch. You got me fucked up, oh. Look, it's just these nice people here for a better life. Families do belong together. You can all be deported together. No human. Actually, orders.
Oh, it goes on like that for another minute and a half. She just let him have it, and I absolutely love it. That was great. I wish more people did that. I wish more people who had a platform like that actually got involved the way she does. She's involved in a lot of things here in Texas, and I really appreciate that. But something else that that gets me about this immigration nonsense is the whole issue of birthright citizenship. And for those of you who are paying attention, you know that Trump signed an executive order to end birthright citizenship, anchor babies, and it's in court. And it being challenged in court, not just by leftists who just want to thwart everything that President Trump is doing, want to thwart everything that is going to help make this country great again, but it's being challenged in court, and I'm sure with the backing of the ACLU and all these other entities. It's being challenged in court by pregnant women, pregnant illegal aliens who want to have their babies here. And I'm looking for the website that I had. I thought I put that in, and apparently not. So bear with me while I get that, because I really want to talk about this, because I think it's important. Because for all the talk of birthright citizen anchor babies, tourism for people who want to have their babies here, and so that they're automatically American citizens, there are no other countries in the world. Well, that's not true. There are other third world countries that will allow it. I think Trinidad, Tobago is one of them. Some islands in the Caribbean allow it. The only first world country that allows birthright citizenship is Canada. Do we really want to be like Canada that much? No, of course not. But so these pregnant women filed suit in Maryland back in January to challenge the executive order protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. You would think that they would want the citizenship of their child to actually mean something. And if you can just get pregnant, hop a plane, have a baby here, and have that baby be an American citizen and thereby tether you to this country, well, then citizenship doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. And some of these women, Monica, who is a Venezuelan doctor living in South Carolina under a protected status, which I think is going away if I remember reading that correctly, stated that she's frightened because her child cannot return to Venezuela for citizenship. So they're claiming that they're stateless, that they can't go back to their home countries for whatever reason and get passports and citizenship for their children there. I don't care. I really don't care, Margaret, because you shouldn't be able to do this anyway. It should be illegal. It's illegal everywhere else except for Canada and other third world countries that are irrelevant to this conversation, because people aren't getting pregnant and choosing those places as their destination to have their babies and have citizenship. That's just not a thing. And there are other women in here. I'll have the link is in the show notes where you can read all of the nonsense that's going on with this. And I have a feeling it's going to end up at the Supreme Court level. And given the makeup of the Supreme Court right now, I really don't know how that could shake out, but we'll see. All right, before we take a break and get a word from our sponsor, I want to talk about Elon Musk, Doge, and this whole issue with USAID. The left is calling it US aid because it's the way they operate everything. They want to use this language that people who are not really paying attention would say, "Oh, US aid, that's great." Well, no, it's not, because it's basically just a slush fund for all of the leftist pet projects and censorship operations that they have going on all around the world. And you know that Trump and Doge and Musk moving to get rid of USAID is the right move, because it's making all the right people mad, including this buffoon, Jan Raskin. And we all know this guy is one of the biggest grifters. And well, before we get into that, let's just listen to what he has. Some of what he has. I'm gonna play it. Well, yeah, it's only a minute long, so let's listen to what he has to say about it.
Elon Musk, you didn't create U.S. aid. The United States Congress did for the American people.
U.S. aid, not USAID.
And just like Elon Musk did not create U.S. aid, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are. We're going to stop him. Elon Musk, you may have illegally seized power over the financial payment systems of the United States Department of Treasury, but you don't control the money of the American people. The United States Congress does that under Article 1 of the Constitution. And just like the president, who is elected to something, cannot impound the money of the people, we don't have a fourth branch of government called Elon Musk. And that's going to become real clear.
Yeah, okay. Whatever you say, dude. He's just wrong on pretty much every front. There are some people out there saying that USAID was created by Congress and therefore President Trump doesn't have the ability to shut it down. Everything that I've read, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I miss something, please let me know, but everything that I've read says that it was created by executive order in 1961 by John F. Kennedy. And it was in conjunction with, at the same time as a law that he did sign. But USAID was created as a separate agency by executive order, which means an executive order can wipe it out. Now, the money that it has been budgeted for it was allocated by Congress. But even so, Trump has the ability to freeze that money, set it aside. He can't spend it on anything else, but he can set it aside and not do anything with it, put it in an account and let it sit there, and then not appoint people to run it, and just let it languish there. And if that's the route he has to take, well, I'm all for it. But USAID has to go. Because like I said, when the left reacts this way, when they get this apoplectic about something, you know that you're on the right track. You absolutely know you're on the right track. But let's take a look at some of the things that they're spending our money on, that they're stealing from us. And yes, taxation is theft. You can have issues with me saying that all you want. It doesn't matter. They are stealing money from you. And they're stealing money from you because if you refuse to pay, they will lock you up. They're taking your money under threat. In any other circumstance, that would be robbery. But because it's the government, no big deal, right? Anyway, just take a look at some of this nonsense, and you tell me if this is what you want the money they're stealing from you going to. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland. $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam. 47 grand for a transgender opera in Colombia. 32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. 2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. 6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. Now, come on. Do you really think, and we could go on, millions to Eco Health Alliance, which, if you've been paying attention, if you remember, was involved in the gain of function research at Wuhan, which led to the pandemic. And we could go on, but do you really think that all of that money went actually to those things? This is, like I said, this is a slush fund. I believe, and I have no evidence to back this up yet, but I think that USAID has morphed into, and the original intent of USAID was for combating communism. And of course, it didn't take long after Kennedy's assassination for that to morph into what it's become now. And I really believe that this is a CIA front, and this money is going to everything but aid. Do you really? I need to see proof that there was a transgender opera in Colombia. I need to see proof that there's a transgender comic book in Peru. The sex changes in Guatemala? Probably. The musical in Ireland? Come on. The 1.5 million for DEI in Serbia, probably. But 6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, please. There is no way that that money went to fund tourism. It funded something in Egypt, most likely, but it wasn't tourism. And you can make your own conclusions about what I might think that is. Again, I don't have any proof of this. I am not plugged into anything like this. This is just a experience and observations in following politics for as long as I have been. There is absolutely no way. And there's all kinds of other things. In fact, there is this is just stupid. This is absolutely ridiculous. There is a there is a building in Afghanistan that they spent $500,000 on, a training center in Afghanistan, and it is melting. It is melting, not because it was. It's melting because it was made out of sand. $500,000 to build this training center that was made out of sand. Now, it was made out of sand. So do you really think that that entire $500,000 went to build that thing? No, of course not. They spent some of it to get it up and looking like it might be capable of doing something. And the rest of that money went who knows where. Come on. They think we're stupid. They really think we're stupid. And when you start to go into this, there was another on the Edge of Liberty last night. Joe brought up a power plant that was built. I think they spent $3.5 million on it, and it's just sitting over there in Afghanistan, not being used because they couldn't. Well, the story is that they couldn't import the diesel fuel to make that power plant operational. If that's true, that's just planning. But because of everything else that these people do, I have to wonder if that $3.5 million that they slap something together with no intention of having it be operational, and the rest of the money went somewhere else. I know that's kind of conspiratorial thinking, but at the same time, every conspiracy theory that we've come up with or that they've given us over the past, I don't know, 8 years or longer has turned out to be true at some point. So what really are the chances that that entire $500,000 million for that project, or this $500,000 for the training center, or any of the other expenditures that USAID has been shelling out money for, our money for, what are the chances that actually went to the things that they're telling us that it went to? Zelensky saying that over half the money that he was supposed to have gotten from USAID, he never got. Now, you can take that with a grain of salt, but if that's true, where'd the rest of the money go? It's just, they really think we're stupid. And the reactions that we're seeing from the leftist media, the American Pravda, the leftists in Congress who are all up in arms about it. Jamie Raskin, the one who we saw earlier, he's directly involved, and I can't remember I don't have the the link right in front of me now, but he was a consultant on one of these projects worth millions and millions of dollars. So of course, if any of that gets exposed, his money is going to dry up, and he doesn't want that to happen. Just completely unacceptable. And I cannot wait to see what else drops as a result of this. And it's only been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. The winning is just, I don't know how much more this can take of our winning. I think they're going to have an aneurysm or something, because if this keeps up at this pace for the next 2 years, people like Harry Sisson and Luke Beasley and all the American Pravda and all these other millennial political pundits who don't know anything, their heads are going to explode from all the winning. And I can't wait to see it. Oh, all right. I want to pivot and talk about the well, I want to touch on the aviation issues. I'm not going to get deep into it, but I'm going to tie it into something else that we're seeing. But before we do that, I want to give you a word from our sponsor. And for some reason, like I said, these technical issues are killing me today. So please bear with me. But fellas, it is almost Valentine's Day. It is almost Valentine's Day. It's pretty much here. I mean, today is February 4th. You have 10 days, but there is still time to get your girl something really cool. Check out carrygirl.com, and you'll find some of the best and coolest designs on the highest quality shirts that you'll find pretty much anywhere. And there's drinkware, hats, all kinds of other accessories that your wife or your girlfriend would love, absolutely love. And if you're anything like me and you can't figure it out, go ahead and get her a gift certificate and let her pick out her stuff. I know that probably that may not work for everyone. I get that, but it may work for you. And like I said, if not, just head over there and pick out something cool that you think she would absolutely love. Visit carrygirl.com today and get yourself, get your girls some. And my dogs are acting stupid right now. So if you heard that, I apologize. They're distracting me. But visit carrygirl.com today. All right. Today has been a show, hasn't it? Anyway, let's keep at. Now, I said I didn't want to talk a whole lot about the aviation issues and the plane crashes. I'm not a pilot. I don't know any pilots. I just know that some things have looked suspicious. And I know that it's more than likely just a whole lot of things going wrong at the exact right time or wrong time to lead to some of these disasters. I just don't trust anything that they say right now. I don't. But one thing I did want to talk about is the DEI aspect of it. And there's this issue with the left believing that Trump is blaming DEI for the plane crashes. And I got into it with somebody on social media. They basically just said that Trump blamed DEI for the crashes when that's not what he said. And so we're gonna listen. We're gonna listen to what he said. We're gonna watch what he said, and then you tell me if you think he actually blamed DEI.
Are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had much higher than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power, by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So we don't know, but we do know that you had two planes at the same level. You had a helicopter and a plane. That shouldn't have happened. And we'll see. We're going to look into that. We're going to see. But certainly for an air traffic controller, we want the brightest, the smartest, the sharpest. We want somebody that's psychologically superior. And that's what we're going to have. Yeah.
Now, he explicitly said in that clip that he was not blaming DEI. He said, we didn't know. Now, later on in that press conference, somebody basically asked the same question, and he said, well, they asked him how he could think that it might be DEI, and he said, because I have common sense. And I don't know if you saw the clip of a deputy FAA administrator talking about having a diverse perspective when it came to air traffic controllers that they were trying to hire. And we don't want diverse perspectives. We want competent people. And I'm not saying that the people who were in the control tower at the time of this crash were incompetent. I don't know that. I know that they were overworked. But I don't know if that led to the disaster that happened. We don't know. It was probably just a series of unfortunate events that all happened at the same time. And then again, some people would say that there's no such thing as a coincidence. So who knows? We're just going to have to wait for the investigation and to see where that goes. But I wanted to bring that up with DEI in terms of Black History Month. And I know you didn't think that that's where I was going to go with it, but that's where I'm going with it, because February is Black History Month. And if you notice, I don't get into a whole lot of race issues, because to me, it is irrelevant. To me, it doesn't mean anything. God does not see race. God does not favor race. And so neither do I. Our goal as Christians is to try to be more like him. And if he doesn't see race, neither should I. And even before I became a Christian, that was never something that I just wasn't raised that way. I was raised to work hard and succeed on my own merits. And if there were people who wanted to try and hold me back because of the color of my skin, well, then I'm just going to have to work that much harder to prove them wrong. And I can honestly say I can't think of an instance where I know for an absolute fact that I was denied an opportunity because of the color of my skin. I can't think of a single one. Were there opportunities that I didn't get and was disappointed? Yes. Do I think that my race had anything to do with it? No. I can think of some that I didn't get. I reached for a stretch goal and didn't get it. I wasn't completely qualified, but I tried. And the fact that I didn't get it I wasn't complaining that they didn't give it to me because I was Black. I knew that it was something that I was reaching for, that I probably wasn't completely qualified for. And then there's been other times where I've gotten positions that I wasn't qualified for, and it showed. It showed. And I grew into it, but in the beginning it was rough because I wasn't really ready. And I didn't get it because of the color of my skin. I just happened to be the best candidate available at the time. But again, it was a stretch that I wasn't ready for, and I took some lumps because of it. But getting back to Black History Month. Black History Month is not something that I celebrate. It's not something that I focus on. As I said, I don't get into a lot of racial issues because it's not a focus of mine. It's not a religion of mine like it is with some people, which we'll get into here in a second. But I wanted to show you this particular clip because I think this sums it up absolutely perfectly. And this is the great, well, I don't know if he's great, but he's a really good actor, Morgan Freeman.
Black History Month you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, well, come on.
Stumped.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay. Which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
That's
How are we
right.
going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a Black man.
Black History Month,
And of course, he is 100% correct. Black history is American history. There's no getting around that. With the good, the bad, and the ugly, it's American history. It shouldn't be relegated to a month. It shouldn't be something that is isolated. It's part of it's American history, and it should be treated as such. And of course, we have Hispanic history and all these other ones, but there's no need for that. There is absolutely no need for that. And because of this, I got into it with, well, actually, I can't really say into it because most of the time these leftists never respond. But this guy who's active on X named Bishop, quote unquote, Bishop Talbert Swan, he posted this on X. Merit-based is the 2025 version of whites only. And then he posted this picture of waiting room for whites only by order of the police department, which is Looks like it was AI generated. I don't think this is any historical photo that I can remember seeing, but the message obviously is. And I responded to him basically saying that he needed to seek help, because what this says is that when he says that merit-based is whites only, what he's saying is that Black people can't compete without some sort of assistance, which is insulting and is evidence to me of an inferiority complex. Because it really, what other explanation could there possibly be for saying that Black people can't compete in a merit-based system? That merit is white, is basically what he said. And I completely reject that idea. It's, like I said, it's insulting, and it suggests a serious inferiority complex, which I do not have. I absolutely do not have an inferiority complex, especially when it comes to issues of race. That's just stupid. And I don't really understand people who think this way, especially a guy who's supposed to be a quote unquote bishop. Because if he's a bishop, then he should understand from a biblical perspective that God doesn't see race. He should stand that he should understand that with God, everything is within your reach. If it's his will and he wants you, and his will is that he wants you to succeed, he wants you to do well, he wants you to be happy and comfortable as long as you're doing his will and spreading his word. And he's a bishop, which makes me wonder what is he teaching his congregation? Because it's not based on anything biblical. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." I'm not a bishop. I'm not a theologian, a biblical scholar, but I can read. And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Pretty much unequivocal. There's no ambiguity in that statement whatsoever. None. And so that completely contradicts this merit-based whites only nonsense that Talbert Swan is yammering about. This isn't the first time I've gotten into it with him, and he never responds, but he's had some of his minions respond to some of the things that I've said. But yeah, so that's my take on DEI and Black history and all the rest of it. And I want to get into, I have a few more things I want to get into. I wanted to talk about this so-called trade war with Canada and Mexico. I don't have time to really get as deep into it as I wanted to, because I was too long-winded as usual. But I just want to say that it was not a trade war. It was barely even a skirmish. Canada and Trudeau and Mexico and Sheinbaum, they both folded, and they didn't have a choice. Anyone who was paying attention knew that was going to happen. It may not. I wasn't sure it was going to happen as quickly as it did. I thought it would. Excuse me. I thought it would probably take a couple of days, but it took a matter of hours. Maybe not even. Well, yeah, it took a matter of hours between the two of them. And when you looked at the Mexican peso and the Canadian dollar, they were that morning when the tariffs were announced or took effect, the Canadian dollar was 68 cents compared to the American dollar, and the peso was less than a nickel, and had been falling since the announcement of the looming tariffs. They had no choice. They had absolutely no choice but to fold. And the left is talking about how Trump got played because Mexico and Canada are doing things that they had already agreed to do under the Biden administration. Okay, fine. Those things are technically true, but they weren't doing anything about it. They weren't actually following through with those agreements that they made with the Biden administration. And so Trump made them do it. And then if they don't follow through in the next 30 days, well, guess what? Those tariffs are going into effect. And I don't think more lip service saying we'll do this, we'll do that. I don't think that is going to work in 30 days if they haven't made significant progress on some of these things. Trudeau agreed to put over $1 billion into border security with new equipment and technology and things like that. If there's no evidence that he's doing that, guess what? Those tariffs are going to go right back into effect. Same with Mexico. And you can maybe the soldiers that she's sending down to the border, maybe they're all legit. I suspect some of them are probably loyal to the cartels and not to the Mexican government. We'll see how that works out. But Pete Hegseth has our military at our border, so my money's on us. My money's on us. So there's that. But this is the last thing I wanted to talk about. There was one other thing. I may get to it. I may not. But the DNC had their elections for their officers, and to show they have learned absolutely nothing. And I don't have time to go into the clips, but they had clips of all the candidates raising their hands saying that Kamala Harris lost because of misogyny and racism. They had this one provision in their charter, as it is, where they have to have gender balance and not just male, female, even though those are the only two genders, but in their twisted minds, they have to have equal number of non-binary and all the other ridiculous so-called genders that they recognize. But to further prove that they've learned nothing, all of that notwithstanding, they, in their infinite wisdom, decided to elect David Hogg, Davy Boy, as I call him, to vice chair of the DNC. And his goals include abolishing ICE, defunding the police, and designating the NRA as a terrorist group. This is the DNC's vice chair. they have learned absolutely nothing, because none of that has worked. They tried this. They absolutely tried this, and it got them nowhere. It got them the minorities in the House and the Senate, and it got them booted out of the White House. And by electing him with this platform, they are tripling down, quadrupling down on a losing strategy. And I am all for it. I am absolutely all for it. I fully support this election, because if they continue down this path, they will never win another election. California is already in play, I think. I could be wrong, but given the number of counties that Trump flipped in this last election, California is a lot closer than it used to be. And if they keep going down this path, especially with Karen Bass and Mussolini, and the left keeps doubling down like with this guy, I say go for it. Go for it. We love it. We want to see more of it. This is absolutely awesome. And just a reminder of this guy, Davey Boy. And I love giving him the business on social media, because he's so stupid. He thinks he's so stupid. And this, every time I see it, it puts a smile on my face. And if you follow me on social media, you know exactly what I'm talking about, is Davey Boy getting his butt handed to him by Lily Tang Williams, who is a New Hampshire resident, and she ran for Congress and almost won her seat, but got outspent by a billionaire who didn't even, or maybe just a millionaire, I'm not sure, didn't even live in the district that she was running in. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But check this.
Hi, my name is Lily Tang Williams. Welcome to my Live Free or Die state. Actually, I am a Chinese immigrant who survived communism. And under Mao, 40 million people were starving to death after he sold the communism to them, and 20 million people died, murdered during his Cultural Revolution. So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me, a gun owner tonight, our government in the US, in DC, will never become a tyrannical government? Can you guarantee that to me?
The only way I can ever guarantee that any government will not be tyrannical.
Well, then the debate on gun control is over, because I never give up my guns. Never. And you should go to China to see how gun control works for dictatorship of CCP. Hi, my name is...
Absolutely wrecked. And it's glorious every single time. And the fact that he continues to be a gun grabber after that, and hasn't tried to moderate his language at all, just tells all you need to know. Tells you all you need to know about him and the left and everything else. All right, I had a couple other things I wanted to get to, but I am time. So that's it for today. I will try to do better on the next one, but please don't forget to like and subscribe, share these videos, because we want to continue to spread the message of Jesus Christ and liberty and conservatism to as many people as we possibly can, because we want to preserve what we have and what we're getting back for future generations. And again, if you like the shirt I'm wearing, head over to missionreadymen.com and shop 7 Armors and check this design out and all the other ones. And head over to carrygirl.com as well. Check out those designs. Get your girlfriend something, your girlfriend or your wife something awesome. And you can also shop the 7 Armors men's line from catgirl.com. So feel free to do that as well. But as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.